money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Pauly Howard, Matt Youmans, Mitch on vacation all week. We'll talk to Jimmy Ott at the bottom of the hour about the Arch Manning hype. And also, how bad could the Saints be? We'll try to answer the question. I think he'll have a great answer. How bad do the Saints want to win this year as well? Jensen Lewis on baseball as well. It's a final game one of a doubleheader. Cubbies beat the Brewers, fly the W 6-4. Jeff Sealey joins us now every week to talk golf at Cutmaker Jeff on X. Cutmaker podcast out tomorrow. And this is he's on the progressive guest line as well. I've never seen this before, my friend. Scotty Scheffler minus 1,200 to finish top 10.
Well, and Paul, you said something real quick. I want to mention this. You said the Arch Manning thing. The Colts have to be tanking for Arch Manning by starting Daniel Jones, right?
Well, it's
Don't
not
they have to be?
Jeff, it's not a wise move to tank for Arch because there are a lot of people who think Arch is going to stay 2 years at Texas.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, the Colts might be bad for 2 years. I mean, the way we're going, we're going to be dreadful. We're going to be absolutely dreadful. No, to answer your question, Paul, I don't recall the last time I saw somebody minus 1,200 top 10. And frankly, I think it's almost unfathomable to imagine Scotty not finishing top 10, right? And so, no, I think it's really hard. It's hard to bet him this week in terms of just the plus 150. I think if you're going to bet him, you want to look for an exacta way to bet him. Some of these guys you can find like in the 20-1 range. If you were to go, say, Scotty Henley or Scotty Hovland or some of these guys, you can do some good exactas. That's how I would play it if I were going to play Scheffler, because if you do the exacta, you can actually get a better price than you can in some of these winner without markets. So you assume Scotty's going to win. You play the exacta that way. That's how I would play it if I were going to bet Scotty.
Does a caddy really make a difference, or could Paul Howard caddy for Scotty and he could still win this week?
The amount of money we could raise to see Paul Howard caddy for Scotty Scheffler would be out of this world and would be maybe the greatest sitcom in the history of television.
Yeah.
So, however, I think even Paul could, and it would be. It obviously doesn't matter a ton. He's had three different this will be his third different caddy in 3 weeks. Obviously, back to Ted Scott is his old caddy, and I don't think it matters. The way he's playing right now, he's winning events he doesn't need to even play in. He's winning in somewhat convincing fashion. Obviously, came back and beat Bobby Mack, who crapped down his leg, but you kind of knew that Scotty was going to make a run and he'd be there. Obviously, 2 weeks ago he was close and didn't quite get it done. But if he's not in the final group on Sunday, I'll be shocked. It's just a question of, can you imagine another Sunday of Tommy Fleetwood and Scotty Scheffler, though? That'd be great TV, and I would go broke again. I went broke betting on Scotty to run down Tommy last time. Unfortunately, Justin Rose stepped in, but I will go right back to the window if it's Scotty and Fleetwood in the final group on Sunday.
It's an incredible day. Ohtani's plus 110 in some spots to hit a home run, and Scheffler's plus 150 to win a golf tournament. Tell us about the course.
Sure. Again, so we're at East Lake Country Club, where we stay in the same place we are every year. Just had a redesign, though, last year to make it a little more difficult. Went from a par 71 to a par 70, 7,400 yards. It's going to play long. But, again, this is a course where you have to hit the fairways. You got some difficult rough here, so you want to hit the fairway. I'm prioritizing, really, fairways. Hence, my number two guy in my model behind Scotty is Russell Henley. Has two top fives at East Lake, although last year was the first year he played with the redesign, and he finished fourth. He's played good, not great, the past few weeks, but it's similar to what we saw coming into this event last year when he finished fourth. So I ran 4 models this week. Henley graded out number 2 overall. So it makes a lot of sense. In stat-wise, he's going to hit fairways. That's in demand this week. I think he makes a lot of sense. I bet him 14-1, the winner without market. I also think you could do an exacta with Scotty and Henley and price that one out depending on your book. But I definitely like Russell Henley, winner without 14-1 this week. I think he makes a ton of sense. As far as Rory goes, guys, he graded out number 3 for me, and I think I'm just going to outright fade him this week. If I were going to play him, I would just play him at plus 850 or 9-1 to win because there's no point in playing the winner without now. I don't know that it's going to go Scotty Rory. So if I were going to bet Rory, I would bet him the outright. I'm not going to, so I'm fading him. my favorite player on tour, Ludwig Oberg, after letting us down the very disappointing Sunday last weekend. He's 12-1, winner without market. Struggled last year by hitting poor iron shots and losing 3 strokes on the green. But now we get an Oberg this week who's gained in 8 straight events with his irons, gained his putter in 2 straight. I do like him a lot. And last time we're going to talk about this year, guys, while he's 4 years younger than Scotty, I think in 4 years we'll be talking about the Oberg and the role we're talking about Scotty today. I think he will be the most dominant golfer on tour in the next few years, and his best is yet to come. So I'm super excited for him.
Well, that's a bold comment. And you know what? I was playing in the Westgate Superbook golf tournament on Saturday, talking about this with a couple of guys on the course. And I said, when you watch Ludwig Oberg and his sweet swing and all the talent he's got, you wonder, why does he not win more? And, Wes Reynolds and I used to say the same thing about Scotty Scheffler until he finally broke through. Oberg's not good enough with his short irons, with his putting, but you see he's getting there, and you really think would he be a player you would look to bet on a regular basis in 2026?
For sure, Matt, and one of the things that's interesting, though, the challenge is, and we saw this for years, you'll recall with Jon Rahm, too, right? It was the price was always deflated on Rahm, because everybody knew the talent was there and knew it was just a matter of time till he was the number 1 player in the world, and then he was. And I think this is the exact same thing with Oberg. It's not if, it's when. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get inflated prices. I think 20-1 is an inflated price whenever you see it. And yeah, anytime there's a 20 in front of him, I'll be betting him, and I'll be betting him in the Masters again next year. Again, he's made 2 really good runs at the Masters, faltered late on Sunday there twice, but I do expect I'll be betting on Oberg, and he'll be in a ton of my futures parlays going forward, especially at Augusta.
Follow the money, Pauly and Matt Youmans, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Jeff Sealey, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. Give us 2 other guys you like and that winner without in the 20 to 25-1 range.
Yeah, guys. So Victor Hovland seems to be a popular selection this week, and for the price, I think he's probably the best play. You can get him at DraftKings 20-1, the winner without market. His iron play was great at the BMW, but hasn't been great off the tee since May. Parlayed some incredible iron play and just uncharacteristically elite chipping at the U.S. Open to finish 3rd, but he lost strokes off the tee at the U.S. Open. So that in and of itself is the only thing that has me off him a little bit this week. If you don't keep in the fairway, you aren't going to win, but that's factored in this price, I think, with Victor Hovland at 20-1. If he can just hit the ball straight at all, he'll be there on Sunday. And then lastly, we've got Ben Griffin. And guys, I have never heard. Did you see the interview when he said he OD'd on creatine?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
He was dizzy. I think he was lightheaded. He took too much creatine, and I think he was 6 over in a span of like 3 or 4 holes, right?
He apparently OD'd on creatine, played his first 3 holes, and the final round 6 over. If he just shoots even par in through those 3 holes, he finishes 7th, tied with Hovland. What a bizarre turn of events. But again, a guy who I've been on all the time. He's 25-1, winner without. Putting has been super, super hot for Ben Griffin. And again, another guy that if he keeps in the fairway is going to have a big week as long as he microdoses his creatine. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But honestly, guys, there's only 6 guys I think can win, and I just named them. So, but Matt, I wanted to ask you this. Who's more disappointing, Colin Morikawa or Brooks Koepka? Because it's close.
Well, I kind of gave up on Koepka last year. I'm going to say Morikawa because I've probably bet him 5 or 6 times this year, and I finally had to quit in the middle of the summer. I'm an idiot for betting this guy. And, Wes Reynolds keeps playing him. It's FOMO, right? You don't want to – it's Cameron Young. You don't want to be on the sideline the week he breaks through and wins. I think Morikawa has been a disaster this season. I know that you're probably more disappointed in Koepka, but you also said, I believe last year, that you were pretty much bailing on Brooks to win a major again, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so again, when we talk about that, I just looked at some matchups. Morikawa is even money against Victor Hovland in matchups.
Ooh, wow.
I love that. Yeah. Absolutely love that. That has got to be the best value on the board this week, matchup-wise, because you got a guy who's, again, short of being a little loose off the tee and Hovland doing lots of stuff very well. Morikawa can't find his butt with both hands right now. I like that matchup a lot for Hovland.
All right, my friend. Thanks for a few minutes. Take care.
All right, thanks, fellas. Take care.
Jeff Sealey.
Jeff Sealey's in the Westgate Super Contest College Contest.
Good.
Yeah. Got to get those numbers up in that contest.
Absolutely. Get it up to 1,000. As the official horse racing partner of VSiN, first bet built for bettors who demand more. First bet just isn't about placing a bet. It's about helping bettors of all levels. First bet in-app tools give you, boy, oh boy, this is brutal. Win, place, and show probabilities for each runner so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. Right now, you can take advantage of a limited time $250 sign-up offer. To claim your bonus, use promo code VSiN250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. Promo code VSiN250. First Bet app or at firstbet.com. Promo code VSiN250. Okay, my God. Very good. What did you think of Huey Magoo's yesterday?
Well, I mean, I expect greatness, and that's what I got.
Delivered?
When I went over there. I walked over to the Fremont Food Court.
Two viewers there were with you, too.
Yeah, a couple of
Like
Paul
they
Howard
been.
fans showed up.
Yeah.
They said that we want to try out Huey Magoo's. We heard your recommendation, and they were very impressed by the place. So it delivers. You know? That Fremont Food Court, by the way, is underrated.
I had never heard of Huey Magoo's ever. Until like the one person tweeted, hey, try these chicken tenders.
Huey Magoo's should be a sponsor on VSiN.
Absolutely.
Right? We've done a lot to promote that franchise.
Yeah. Look at the X numbers. Very low. I totally agree. We paid tribute to a legend up next, and you won't believe what Orgeron said about Arch Manning. Coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great article today in the local paper, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Todd Dewey. Jimmy Vaccaro is retired after 50 years as a Las Vegas bookmaker. He'll turn 80 October 5th. He left his role as South Point oddsmaker in July and moved back to Trafford, Pennsylvania. 50 years is enough, he said. I want to spend some time just doing nothing. And incredible career. We loved him and all his stories. And I'm going to miss him. I know the next time I'm going to see the guy. And I feel terrible I wasn't able to say goodbye as well. And if you find something you love as much as Jimmy loves Trafford, Pennsylvania, hang on to that and give it a bear hug. But the stories about this guy and just his incredible life and what he's done, great job, Jimmy. And I know when you were working with Lucky's sports books and you would come in every single week, and then we'd have dinner as well. Fantastic stories, and you're a great person, and we're going to miss you, Jimmy. Congrats on a great career.
No doubt. Second that, he's a raconteur, great storyteller, and just a great guy. One of the first, might have been the first bookmaker I met when I moved to Vegas in 2000. It was Jimmy V, and I know that Todd Dewey wrote that story today, but the retirement was actually official a couple of months ago. The party was thrown for Jimmy, and he went back to Pittsburgh about 2 months ago. So it's not really breaking news within the industry, but I think there were some people holding out saying, well, when football season gets close, Jimmy might get the itch and he might come back, right?
Yep.
And who knows? He might end up coming back this season, next season. When it's in your blood, it's awful difficult to stay away. And we'll see if he comes back eventually. But it is the end of Jimmy V's career. I saw Chris Andrews, Vinny Maiulo up at the Legacy Club over the weekend. They were here for the Bet Bash. And South Point Sportsbook's going to be in good hands. Paul, you remember we launched this network out, the South Point Sportsbook, and Jimmy V was a big part of the network for a few years.
No doubt. And I know he went to bat for me and Mitch, as long as you did as well, and told Musburger and 80 that you got to hire these guys as well, along with Vinny, and I'll never forget that. And thanks to those guys for doing that as well. Vaccaro became nationally known at the Mirage when he offered odds on the Mike Tyson-Buster Douglas fight in 1990. You had to lay $4,200 to win $100, and someone bet $420,000 to win $10,000. And I know a couple people who actually bet Douglas in that fight too. In the middle of the night, and then you wait. What happened? What happened? Tyson was sleeping with anything that moved back then as well. One day we'll get him in studio. Set that up, Stevie Cohn. But that was an incredible story there. He was the first human ever on The Simpsons in the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode. And they put hypothetical betting odds on it. And Vaccaro created season win totals in 1989 when a high-stakes gambler asked him how many games he thought the Cowboys would win in their first season under Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. How about you put up a number and we can do some business? He thought about it for 5 minutes. He made the total 5.5. His wife took out $38,000 in her purse, put it on the counter, and it was in every newspaper in the country then reached out about, hey, how about our team? How about this team? And then the Cowboys, of course, went 1-15 that year as well. Great story. He went on to work for Leroy's, William Hill, and rejoined Gone at the South Point in 2013. What a ride. Great story. Good job, Mr. Dewey. We'll miss you, Jimmy. You sent this in. A lot of talk about Arch Manning, and rightfully so. How long will he stay? Our team's tanking. We'll get into that more coming up with Jimmy Ott. This was Eddie Orgeron on the Pardon My Take podcast being asked, is this kid the real deal?
All right, so going into this college football season, if you were coaching a team and I was like, hey, you get any player you want, what quarterback would you want to be coaching?
Arch Manning.
Yeah? He's the real deal?
No doubt.
What makes you say that?
You know, I had an opportunity to go to Texas and speak to the clinic, and speak at their clinic, and I watched practice. Now, we knew Arch Manning as a young kid from Louisiana. He liked Joe Brady. We watched him. But I watched his practice, and I'll say this conservatively, okay? And Garrett, we recruited Garrett. Garrett's a great player. You know, it's kind of, you know, they got some great quarterbacks there. But Arch is as close to, or maybe as good as Joe as I've seen.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I've never said that about anybody.
Go Tigers.
Unbelievable. That is strong. Strong praise and strong hype. And how good is it? The number one plays number two. And that Saturday in Ohio State named Sayin, their starting quarterback against Texas. He said today his future plan's still unclear.
Who's that?
March.
Of course you're going to be.
But that's,
unclear. You got a whole season to play here before you think about that. Yeah, he's not thinking about
yeah,
the
I know.
NFL.
But
Huh?
I don't know. How about the Quinn Ewers thing? I mean, he was offered $8 million, and he goes, I'm going to be a 6th-round pick, whatever it was.
It was a big mistake.
No kidding.
7th-round pick, by the way.
Thank you, yeah. I mean, he turned down $8 million. Crazy what's out there.
That's one of the biggest mistakes made in sports in the last few years.
Yeah, no doubt.
Quinn Ewers could have had big money to come back to college. He could be Notre Dame's starting quarterback. He could be starting quarterback at Michigan State, somewhere like that. There were big offers on the table for him. Instead, he went to the draft, and he's a 7th-round pick by the Dolphins. What the hell were you thinking?
I don't know.
Anyway, a lot of people were asking that last year. What was Steve Sarkisian thinking when he was not playing Arch Manning more? I was saying that. I thought Texas probably I would say Texas could have had a much better shot to win the national championship last year if Sark played Arch a lot more than he did. I was not a Quinn Ewers guy, and I always felt like Ewers was holding back the Texas team. And obviously the NFL talent evaluators made a statement about that when he slipped all the way to the 7th round, too. But there was, I think, kind of a handshake agreement between Sark and the Manning family that they would bring Arch along slowly and let him develop at the right pace. And also, Sark wanted to be loyal to a veteran, upperclassman like Ewers, who's going to stick around. He did not want to create a quarterback controversy, right?
Yeah, good thoughts.
You don't want the quarterback controversy in the locker room, so he was trying to keep that out.
Or lie to the players.
Right.
Or go back on your word, however you want to say it.
Combination of all that stuff.
Yeah,
so that's why Arch didn't play more. I'm convinced Arch Manning's going to be the real deal. And he's going to be, the far more experienced quarterback when Texas takes the field against Ohio State on August 30th. Julian Sayin hasn't played much at all. Mm-hmm. And I like Texas in that game. I like Arch's chances to win the Heisman, and I think there's a pretty good shot that Texas is going to win the whole thing and that maybe Arch sticks around college for 2 years. It's not like he needs the money, right? The Manning family's not hurting for money. You make plenty of money playing football at Texas right now. You have a great life.
No doubt.
On that campus, right? So I don't think he's in any hurry to rush off and be the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns or whoever, the Saints or whoever's got the top pick. That's a decision he would make after the season. Ed Orgeron is a cartoon character. You got to love the guy. You and I had him on the show. Was that 3 years ago we had him on the show?
Yes. You asked him about Popeyes.
Asked him about Popeyes. What Popeyes? What did he say then?
Okay. When I go on When I go on a long drive, brother, it's bones and biscuits out the window, I'll tell you. He just eats everything. He loves it. And he's a character.
I wish we had that clip.
He is awesome. But that's the family connection, though. But it'd be unbelievable if he goes to the Saints and they're the worst team in the league, which I think that could happen. But there's a lot of activity and some announcements that came down today. For the first time ever, BYU's going with a true freshman at quarterback with Bachmeier.
Bear Bachmeier.
Aguilar,
transfer from Stanford, by the way.
Yep. Aguilar at Tennessee, then Simpson at Bama, and then Carr was announced the starting quarterback at Notre Dame as well. Stuff that came down today.
Yeah, C.J. Carr won a close quarterback competition for the Fighting Irish. I don't think he blew away the coaches. Everything I read is that it was very close competition. He was the guy favored to get it, the most hyped recruit. I always thought C.J. Carr, kind of like Julian Sand at Ohio State, always felt like he was going to be named the starter. That doesn't mean he's going to get out there in week one and light it up. I think Notre Dame's going to have its hands full with Miami in that opener on the road.
It's a great game. And they always have problems in Miami as well.
It's tough to throw a freshman in there, quarterback in a game like that.
Absolutely. Yep. That's a great game, no doubt. VSiN's exclusive betting splits cut through the noise, pulling real-time data straight from Circa and DraftKings Sportsbooks. Track the percentage of bets and handle on every game across every major sport so you can make sharper, more informed bets. Start your edge today for just $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe. What a way to start the season. That is awesome. And this line keeps going down on the Boise game. Boise was 9.5. They're down to 6 at South Florida. August 28th, Thursday. 2:30 Pacific kick in that one.
That's going to be a tricky game for the Broncos. You go down and face an underrated South Florida team in the heat and humidity in Tampa,
yes.
And that's you got to watch for. You got to watch for the Boise team getting worn out in the second half. That humidity has a much, I would say, much more wear and tear type of effect on a football team in the second half than you would think. When you're in that type of humidity, you're not used to it. That 95% humidity in South Florida, that could be a really difficult game for Boise State.
And Texas Tech sophomore running back Quentin Joyner is out for the season, knee injury, and Saturday scrimmage as well. Big blow to Texas Tech. Jimmy Ott, ESPN Baton Rouge up next. They get after it in LSU. We'll talk Tigers, and also he'll do a great job, I think, answering the question, how bad do the Saints want to win this year? It's coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Get back to Bill Barnwell's Most Improved and Teams that Decline on 15 minutes. Now we're joined by Jimmy Ott, ESPN Baton Rouge. He'll be out here doing his show live from Circa and Stadium Swim. He's on the Progressive guest line. He joins us now to talk a little Saints and also LSU. Appreciate the time, my friend. I think you have some interesting perspective here as we're kicking around. Saints could be the worst team in the league and could go under their win total and should go under their win total. How bad does this organization want to win, though?
Well, Mickey Loomis, thanks for having me on, guys. Mickey Loomis, longtime general manager, has told numerous people that he doesn't want the Saints slide to be the last impression of his tenure as a general manager. I don't know how much longer he has. You know, the scoreboard for general managers, one of them, is the salary cap. And the Saints have been in the worst cap situation for years, and it hasn't been close. And nobody with that track record would retain his job. But because, the Benson disowned his kids, Miss Gale doesn't have any of her kids, there's no heirs, when Miss Gale passes. And so they set up Dennis Lauscher for the Benson Foundation. But Mickey Loomis is in the will. I mean, Loomis's family. So it's a compromised organization, to say the least. And so he's trying, believe it or not. He didn't expect Derek Carr to retire. It was like the Saints had won the NFC Championship game again, the way they were celebrating down in the French Quarter when Carr retired.
Yeah.
I mean, But I mean, it's such a sad situation, and it's funny that the rest of the country can see it because their 2 preseason games have been a standalone games early on the NFL Network on Sunday, so you just get to see how bad it is. And so it's Loomis is trying. He doesn't want to go down. He doesn't want to go tank. Now listen, see me at mid-stretch when they're 2-7, 1-8. They may alter their direction, but it's an organization, sadly enough, that is trying. So get your programs this year. Be like when they sucked when I was a kid. You had to keep your attention span going. You take the programs, you make a paper airplane, you see if you can land it on midfield. So that's the biggest applause they'll be getting at the Saints games this year.
Incredible. That's interesting you said that, too. We had Mike Detillier on. He said the same thing. He said it was like a parade when Carr retired, that the fans were so happy what happened. So it's not good with the quarterback situation. We'll see if Shuck can play the second rounder. But, I mean, certainly fans, if Youmans is right and Ed Orgeron's right and Arch is the real deal, how about we go 2-3 wins and get Arch Manning?
Arch isn't coming out this year. Yeah. So everybody in his family has a degree. I know he sort of, checked his grandfather by saying he wasn't coming out, but not just because his 2 uncles stayed 4 years, but we all know what's the rush? And we all know the magic number. You better have 25 starts in college to best prepare you for the NFL. What is the rush? And especially if the Saints get the number 1 pick, he definitely in leaving Texas. So, I mean, there's an interesting relationship between the Mannings and the city of New Orleans and the rest of the state. So, for some reason, we somewhere along the line, we owe them. But the only quarterback to ever have a jersey retired and has never had a winning season, Archie Manning. So best season, 8-8 left. Put his jersey up. Let's go.
Jimmy Ott, ESPN Radio Baton Rouge, president of the Manning Family Fan Club, on with us right now. Jimmy,
Archie is good though. He's good. He's a big guy, much thicker than his uncles were at this stage too.
That's why I think he's going to be the real deal. A lot of stuff. I know some people are skeptical. I'm not. Saints win total opened 6.5 briefly this summer. Now you see them 5.5, 4.5 at DraftKings, 4-1 odds for the Saints to have the fewest wins in the NFL. Would you make all those bets? What's your projected record for this team? Because this quarterback situation is about as bad as it gets, it appears.
I do have a little mini ladder at 6.5 and 5.5. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to take a shot at 3.5. Well, you better get on it quick because it doesn't look like that trend is reversing. And I don't know where the buyback spot is on the Saints over. The thing that scares me, Matt, is the schedule. The schedule is really, really weak. And you tank. You don't tank by players. Players don't tank. It's their career, man. Not for long. They have a short career. And if they're not playing for the Saints, they're playing for their next employer. You don't tank by coach. You tank maybe by rotation. You can do that. You tank by front office. And this front office is not tanking. They are going to try. Unless it gets so bad, this Miss Gale does the unthinkable and lets Loomis go mid-season. But the rookie coach isn't trying to tank. The players aren't trying to tank, and certainly the delusional general manager isn't going to tank. So that's what scares me. Those two things. But I'm going to have something on it. I'm just looking for the best price, but I'll have something on the Saints with the worst record.
Yeah, and fewest points plus 450 is out there as well. Who do you think they start week 1?
I think it's going to play out this week. It's a hot topic of conversation, and we don't know. Nobody kind of has a feel. All the reports about Rattler look so good. You saw what he looked like. It's interesting that the 2 backup quarterbacks, when both teams really emptied the benches, looked the best. Well, that's not the guys you're going to be playing on Sunday. So I'm not sure how they're going to do this rotation for this final preseason game. It's really, really close. To me, the higher ceiling is Shuck. I've seen enough of Rattler to know that he's undersized, not great arm strength, limited mobility. Shuck at least looks the part a little bit more. He's kind of been dumped down left and right too, but both equally challenged. Both look better than the starter in both of the preseason games when they emptied the bench.
Follow the money. Pauly and Matt Youmans, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Jimmy Ott, content director, Bet Rivers, ESPN Baton Rouge on the Progressive Guest Line. How about the big one Saturday night? Clemson taking money up to 4 against LSU, and if Brian Kelly can win a big one to start the season.
It's a couple of things. This is Brian Kelly's best roster since he's been here. He's not he's not as abrasive with the media as he was here. When he got that 10-year contract for $100 million, he exhaled a little bit. He got more friendly with the media, and then he got pretty damn lazy recruiting. These rosters for him the past few years are not typical LSU rosters, where at one time, not long ago, had 5 consecutive years of the most players in the NFL. Mm-hmm. This is his best roster. Here's a stat I like as well. The 2-deep defense, the second-string defense, has 95 combined starts at other places or at LSU. All but 11 are Power 4 experience. That's the 2-deep. They actually have a rotation up front, and this defense is way better than what we've seen in previous years. And the offense is really good. The weakest unit on the team is the offensive line. All new players -1, and they're kind of slow to come on. I don't think they're terribly weak, but I think they'll get a slow start, coming out the chute, as most offensive lines do. Not a great recipe against a good defensive front on the road in a tough place to play. But Nussmeier's the real deal. He's got a ton of targets, and they're deep there as well. Check out Trudez Green at 6'7", the sophomore. He's a tough matchup problem for everybody. But early on, this defense is just way better than what everybody's seen the last 4 or 5 years. Under in that first game in Clemson. So I think it's going to be really, really low scoring, as it can be, where the offenses are a little bit more challenged, a little bit more behind the defenses of college football in week 1.
Total of 58. That game is Saturday, August 30th. That's a night game. So you're saying play under a total of 58. Would you take the 4 with the Tigers?
I would take the 4. Yeah. I think the loser of this game will make the playoff. I think both teams make the playoff. Okay. I like LSU over 8.5 better, because that gives you some wiggle room. As we saw, 3 teams in 9-3 in the SEC didn't make it last year to the playoff. Who knows how it may fall? But, over 8.5, I feel more comfortable. But I think the loser of this team is going to have, Clemson, too. They have so much experience on the offensive line. For all of Dabo's teams, they say this is his best offensive line that he's had. We've seen Klubnik. We've seen the wide receivers not as good as they were back in that heyday, but they're good. They're a little light on running back, but they're proud of that defense. So got one of your boys, Matt, from Purdue. He joined the defensive tackle is going to be first round. The defensive end is going to be a first rounder. One of those guys missed 7 games last year. A.J. Terrell's little brother, and one of the corner. I can't see Nussmeier going his way at all. There's a big drop-off on the other side. But I think both teams are going to feel each other out. But the loser of this game, I think, has a really, really good shot still making it to the playoffs. So I like both to make it to the playoffs.
I was blown away when we went to Omaha by Tiger Nation. All the Jell-O shots. And I think that Tiger Mike is just paid to drive around with the Tiger and play Born on the Bayou out of the speakers. It's crazy. I can't believe that tailgate is. I've never seen anything like it with Tiger Nation.
Any excuse to drink, any excuse to have party. I mean, it's just, Mardi Gras, let's just shut down the city on a Tuesday and get blitzed. So, it's part of what we do, man. We'll come up with all kinds of reasons to have a good time. So, and you just got a little taste of it. Need to get you down here in South Louisiana, Pauly.
Sounds good.
As well.
Sounds good, my friend. We'll see you later this week. Thanks for popping on. Good perspective.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Jimmy Ott, ESPN
Baton Rouge, the home of Raising Cane's. The spot where you go every week when you buy the huge tray for your football party.
That's right. House, right. You got that. Yeah. Got that. Yeah. We'll travel, baby. So 31-7 to the over. How about 30-8 to the under? Part 2, Barnwell's teams to decline, coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158, live from Circa.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great time of year, and always Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com, puts this together. His annual column, Teams to Improve and Decline in the NFL. 31-7. His record with teams to improve by average 3.4 wins on the year. We gave those out earlier. Teams to improve, Giants, 49ers, Raiders, Jacksonville, and the Bears. Teams to take a step back. He's 30-8 the last 8 years. Number 1 with a bullet, Kansas City Chiefs, 15-2 last year. Record in games decided by 7 or fewer points, 10-0. 2 years after the Vikings became the first team in league history to go 9-0 in games decided by 7 points or fewer, the Chiefs won unprecedented 10-0 in one-score games. Officiating calls, luck factor, toe out of bounds. It started with the season opener. The Jackson touchdown pass to Likely as time expired, lining up for the two-pointer. Likely out of bounds by a toenail. Following week, it was 4th and 16, 29-yard PI call on the Bengals. Week 3, 2 no calls, holding PI on Pitts. They beat Atlanta. 6 weeks later, Monday Night Football, Bucs score. It's in the rain. Bowles doesn't go for 2. He kicks the extra point. They lose in overtime. The Broncos game, they block a 35-yard field goal attempt, which would have won. Week 12, Panthers driving for the game-winning touchdown and two-pointer that didn't go their way. Mahomes scrambles to put him in field goal range to win. Week 13, they somehow won. That Raider game was all-time. The penalties, the fumble, the missed field goals, that was crazy. In Week 14, Mahomes converted 3 consecutive third downs to drive downfield, eat up the clock as they beat the Chargers as well, and somehow went 10-0. So I'm with them. I know you're huge on the Broncos this year, and you think the Broncos can win the division and the 9-year run comes to an end.
Got plus 350.
There you go. Yep. But I'm definitely with Barnwell on this one, from 15-2 to a step back and probably 11 or 12 wins for the Chiefs. Minnesota Vikings, polarizing team. A lot of love, but also some people say not that fast. 14-3 last year. Record in games decided by 7 or fewer points, 8-1. 4th toughest schedule in the NFL. And I know we love the coach, but I think the whole season will come down to the quarterback and how well McCarthy does. And there's been a lot of anti-McCarthy stuff as well. People point out, like Paul Charchi did yesterday, about what he did with Dobbs, what he did with Darnold, and how great Darnold played. And then finally he turned into a pumpkin late in the season. The roster is stacked. The defense is awesome. The pieces are there, other than the Addison 3-game suspension. Where are you at with the Vikings?
I like the Vikings. Obviously,
but you go over the win.
They're not going to go 14-3 again.
Right.
I like them over the win total, and in fact, that's a bet I was going to add this week. It's obvious that a lot of people have questions about J.J. McCarthy, and that's fair because he's essentially a rookie quarterback who's going to be starting, on the road in Chicago for the first time. But the entire team around McCarthy is rock solid.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be the hero. He doesn't have to go out there and win games by himself. It's the game manager cliche, and I think McCarthy is capable of doing, I would say, kind of for this team what Sam Darnold did last year. He's not going to put up the same numbers. They're not going to win 14 games again because that was a bit of a outlier. But they could definitely be a playoff team, and they could win that division with McCarthy at quarterback.
Yeah.
For all the people who don't like McCarthy, I say go back, watch the game-tying drive that he led against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Clutch. Big-time throws. He can make the throws. He can make all the plays. He's got mobility. So I'm not that skeptical. But, again, you're talking about a rookie, essentially. He missed all last season.
Yep.
He was hurt in the preseason, missed the whole season. So Kevin O'Connell is a coach I do trust. If you're ranking coaches in the NFL, Kevin O'Connell's a top 10 coach. He does great work with quarterbacks. So I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think you got to play the Vikings over this win total.
And it's an interesting start to the season with at Chicago on Monday night, then Atlanta at home, Cincinnati at home, and then they go the Ireland-London route back-to-back against Pittsburgh and the Brownies before the bye.
This is going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the top 5, probably the top 5 defense.
And it's also a unique spot here where, yes, they win 10 games. They go over the win total, but it's a winner for Barnwell because you go from 14 wins to 10 to wins, but this is one where he's not doing it from a win total standpoint. Another tough team here, Washington. Last year, 12-5. Record in games decided by 7 or fewer points, 8-2. 7th toughest schedule in the league. Coaching staff was awesome. Daniels was great, but the chemistry they had with Kingsbury, how they were on the same page. You bring in Tunsil, you bring in Samuel, see what he has left. You got to get this sorted out with McLaurin. But a lot of things went their way, too. The Hail Mary game. No way they should have won that. The Bears should have won that game. Right. They should have lost week 2 against the Giants. Neighbors dropped the 4th down pass that would have given the Giants a first down. Also, they couldn't kick a field goal in that game. Week 15, Rattler threw a touchdown pass with no time left. They went for 2. Pass was broken up. Didn't get it. Week 17, they allowed a late drive touchdown to Penix. After a 3-and-out, Atlanta drove back into field goal range. There was a penalty. There was some shenanigans, which should have been a game-winning field goal that was manageable, turned into a 56-yarder that Riley Patterson missed. Commanders won the coin toss and went right down the field in overtime. And in Week 18, Mariota ran for 33 yards on 4th and 1 with 33 seconds, set up the game-winning touchdown against the Cowboys. They went 20 of 23 on 4th downs last year. 87% clip. Incredible. That was 14 percentage points better than any other team since ESPN's been tracking this since 2000 with 4th down data. That's nuts.
Close to an NFL record, you would think, and you're not going to do that again. But when you got a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, it gives you a much better chance to convert those type of 4th downs.
Yeah, they scored 115 points on drives after converting at least 1 4th down, the most by any team over that span. Incredible. That one's tough, but first things first, you have to get this McLaurin thing sorted out. But I think Daniels has a big season. See if they can turn around the defense. How about the Colts? With the news today we'll get into coming up. Danny Dimes, the week 1 starter. He has the Colts taking a big step back. 8-9 last year. Record in games decided by 7 or fewer points, 7-4. 13th easiest schedule in the NFL. Defense was horrible. And you also played some easy quarterbacks and still couldn't stop them. Well, now what happens? And now that Lou takes over, I think all the anti-Indianapolis stuff is correct and under adjusted wins total as well, too.
One thing I'll say about this Bill Barnwell column, and I read the entire thing. I like the column better where he's talking about teams that are going to improve. That's more difficult to project. This column, I think, is kind of a joke, to be honest with you, because you're saying, all right, the Chiefs are going to take a step back from 15 wins. Lions are taking a step back from 15 wins. Yeah, Vikings taking a step back from 14 wins. Yep. Commanders taking a step back from. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Look, I've got a pet orangutan at home named Clyde who could tell you that those 4 teams are not going to win as many games as they did last year. Right?
All fair points. It seems like he's padding his stats here.
It is. Yep. It's a joke because anybody could tell you those 4 teams are not going to win as many games. And that's an easy call. And you say, well, I went 5-0. I'm predicting I mean, these are layups. The only one that might be a little bit murky is the Colts, right? The Colts 8-9, but nobody. I don't think think none of us think the Colts are going to be better than an 8-win team this year.
All these teams would sign up for 12 wins. That's correct by Barnwell's grading. Yep. And Detroit checking in at number 5, 15-2. Plus 222-point differential.
You think it's a bold prediction to say the Lions are not going to win 15 games again?
Record in games decided.
The Vikings are not going to win 14?
Yep. Record in games decided by 7 or fewer points, 7-2. But here's the big boy. Second toughest schedule in the NFL. And it's also, they're playing on the road in all these tough games. And you lose both coordinators. Yeah. But the defense could be great with Hutchinson. And we'll see how big that is. They lose both coordinators.
They're not going to be close to 15-2.
No, I know.
Right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So good point by you. And also that the big one there is the Colts, and the other ones are layups. We'll get to the big news in the NFL earlier today. Minus 280 was available about a week ago on what the Colts decided to do. And some interesting comments already coming out of the locker room about the frustration on what's going on as the Colts name their Week 1 starter and what's happened since Andrew Luck retired. And we'll get to the MLB card as well with already a final in the books coming up. VSiN, Follow the Money, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158. Pauly Howard, Matt Youmans, live from Circa.